So, whatever the subject may be, whether it's the unrest in Los Angeles or a strike by Israel on Iran, it somehow circles back to Trump. On that note, we welcome back our chief political anchor, Leo. He's joining us over the phone. He recently had a conversation with the President of the United States, Donald Trump. Leo, what did he have to say to you?
I just got off the phone with President Trump. One thing he made clear was that he had prior knowledge of Israel's move. There were no unexpected developments. He shared a direct statement with me saying, "Iran must not acquire a nuclear weapon. We're aiming to return to discussions. We'll have to wait and see. Some key figures in Iran's leadership won't be returning." The president, as I understand it, has had multiple conversations with Prime Minister Netanyahu in the past few days. As I noted earlier, the Trump team contacted a major ally in the Middle East ahead of time to recognize the strike was going to take place, although the US had no part in executing it. Still, the objective remains to bring Iran back to dialogue. Tensions had been growing over Iran's behavior in the talks, with Steve Witkoff, the envoy for the region. He was set to meet again on Sunday, but this situation might affect whether or not that meeting still occurs, depending on Iran's next steps. The president mentioned he's waiting to assess how Iran will retaliate. CENTCOM remains on standby. The US will provide support. It will aid Israel's defense if required. And like I pointed out in our last conversation, Israel's Iron Dome has recently been restocked. So there is still optimism from the president and his advisors that this could shift the situation with Iran and won't spiral into prolonged escalation. But just now, we saw a post by Iran's supreme leader, calling this the start of a major response and claiming Israel, in his words, has sealed its destiny. US sources are now verifying that several senior Iranian leaders were killed in the attacks. As for what exactly was targeted, yes, the Natanz nuclear site was hit, but it appears the largest bunker buster bombs were not used. We'll know more with daylight. And again, although the American military was not directly involved, there was certainly forewarning, coordination, and awareness of the operation. Now, it's a matter of waiting to see what form the response takes.
Well, I don't want to say imminent, but it looks like it's something that could very well happen. Look, it's very simple, not complicated. Iran cannot have a nuclear weapon. Other than that, I want them to be successful. I want them to be tremendous. We'll help them be successful. We'll trade with them. We'll do whatever is necessary. You know, I stopped a war between India and Pakistan. And I stopped it with trade. I don't think I've ever seen a story written about it, but it was pretty cool. They were getting ready. Pakistan was their turn to hit, and eventually they're going to go nuclear. And I stopped it. I called each. I respect each leader greatly. I know them. And I spoke to them, and I talked about trade. I said, but you're not trading with us if you're going to go to war, if you're going to start throwing nuclear weapons around. And I said it to both of them, and they were both unbelievable, actually. They understood it exactly. They stopped. I stopped that war with phone calls and trade. And India's here right now negotiating a trade deal, and Pakistan's coming, I think, next week. And I'm very proud of that. Nobody died. The nuclear weapons, they each have very severe, very substantial numbers of nuclear weapons. And I think we should get some credit for that. You know, the whole Republican Party should, because that's their mindset.